Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Pinstripe People, a Believe podcast on the Believe Network. I am Sal Majorana, joined today again by my co-host, Mike Lindsley. Mike, you have young children, and that presents obstacles in your day. I'm way past that, but I understand your pain, my friend.
Yeah, well, that's because you had kids before you were 40, Sal. But, through all the trials and tribulations, the IVF and all the rest, we're so lucky to have two. But, you can love them and it's busy and it's also hard at the same time. But I'll tell you what, sometimes not as hard as facing a Tarik Skubal, but the Yankees didn't seem to mind facing him, hitting 3 bombs, 2 from Goldie, and they won the series. I think you and I were both kind of like texting each other and going in being like, I don't really feel this is great. You brought up the point, caught him at the wrong time after game 1. You said, I told you so. I said, yes, you did. And here we are on Thursday night. They're going up against a terrible Red Sox team that is a poor excuse of being one of the big brands in baseball. Coming off a series win against Tigers pitching that, they put their best guys out there and the Yankees just clawed at bats out and they had some terrific bullpen work as well. So I was actually, and you know me, with this club under Cashman the last 10 or so years, I don't get impressed often, but that was something that impressed me for the last 3 days. So,
yeah, I felt going into this series, we talked about it on the last show, that it just felt like the Tigers, they just swept the White Sox. They've got to start making some hay so they can make some big decisions on whether, Tarik Skubal is going to be on the trade block or whoever else they might want to move. So it's either, get in the race and make a playoff push, which in the American League, they're still in it. I mean, they can still get a wild card spot, or if they're going to shit the bed completely, then it's time to think about moving Skubal. So I did not feel that this was going to be a series that matched up real well for the Yankees, given their depleted state. And then they lose, Ryan McMahon along the way here, who not a great hitter, but that weakens an already depleted and weakened defense. Now you play without your best fielding third baseman. It just felt like this was the wrong place at the wrong time. So we'll start with last night's game. We always like to get the most recent game, and then we'll go back and look at the other two. So last night, now look, you and I both saw the pitching matchup Monday when they came out. Tarik Skubal against Ryan Weathers. That just did not look promising for the Yankees, which is why after they lost the opener, it was so important, I thought, to win the second game because you were in danger of maybe getting swept. Well, it took 5 pitches, and Paul Goldschmidt takes Skubal over the fence for a 1-0 lead. And then in his next at bat, he hits it 50 feet further to left center for a 2-1 lead. And then obviously at the end, Dominguez in the 6th inning, Dominguez couldn't have looked worse in his first 2 at bats against, I think he had 6 swings and misses out of 8 pitches, struck out twice. He works a 9-pitch battle against Skubal, batting right-handed nonetheless, and hits a 2-run homer at the sides of the game. So, yeah, a very unexpected outcome, at least from my view, and I think probably yours too.
Yeah, for sure. But again, how weird is baseball? 162, right? Over the course of time, how many times do we see it? A showcase. Now, that wasn't a showcase pitching matchup last night, but remember back in the day, I mean, we would see matchups with 2 key huge pitchers, like even when Glavine went to the Mets and he would face his older team, right? We used to see games like that with Johan Santana and Roy Halladay, like classic games. And a lot of times, classic pitchers, Cy Young duels, well, here we go. Get ready for the 1-0. The broadcasters throw the jinx up there, and it ends up being 6-5. They each give up 2 or 3. The bullpens come in, give up 2 or 3. And then whoever gets the late hit, late sack fly, plays better defense. And then it's a 6-5 game, and it's not 1-0. It's not 1991 Game 7 World Series with Jack Morris and John Smoltz. It's just not. So we see this all the time in baseball where what it's supposed to be is not how it ends up, right? I mean, look at Shohei Ohtani last night. Shohei Ohtani, he even gave up a couple runs. I think it was 3 total and 2 earned. But every time he goes up against an inferior opponent, the way he's pitched against superior opponents, you're like, come on, this dude's going to go 7-8. No, he didn't. He went to 6. Now, that's still fine, especially, by the way, 2 hits and an RBI. Ho-hum, fire the guy. But the thing you got to look at with this is that's sometimes how it goes. I thought the first home run by Goldschmidt set the tone.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, that was, he has had great success against Skubal. He came in, I think it was whatever. Well, he's 7 for 13 now. So I guess he was 5 for 10. That's rare against Tarik Skubal. So for whatever reason, we know Goldie hits lefties even at age 38 really well. That's why he's on the team, quite frankly. I mean, he's playing because there's injuries, but they brought him back specifically to be kind of a pinch hitter and an occasional DH when a lefty's going. So we knew he could do that. But Christ, it's Tarik Skubal, who has pitched 3 times since he came back from the surgery, and he's not the dominant 2-time Cy Young guy yet, but he was pretty good. He was still, outside of that, he gave up 1 hit and he struck out 9. So it was still pretty good Skubal last night. So for Goldschmidt to get him twice, and then Dominguez to get, that was so highly unexpected for him to do that. That was a hell of a win. And as you mentioned briefly, bullpen. I mean, look, Ryan Weathers pitched well. He scattered, I think it was 6 hits, 2 walks. So they had traffic on him, but the Yankees did a pretty good job on defense. Dominguez did kick the one in right field. It cost them an earned run, and we're kind of getting used to that. But overall, Schumann with 2 tremendous catches in center field position. He's played that position 7 times in his career in MLB. So some really an all-around good game. And the bullpen comes in and gets 3 innings. I mean, Doval walks a guy, and of course they take him out before the 7th inning is over. Cruz struck out all 4 guys that he faced. He falls behind a couple of them, comes back. And then Bednar, Mike, I tell you, Bednar was starting to drive me nuts there for a while, maybe, a month ago or so. Every time he comes in, there's traffic, there's tension. Lately, he has been nails. He's been really good. So they lock it up and they win the series. It was a really, really nice win last night and a nice series win overall.
Yeah, no doubt. And I tell you what, I was just looking at, I was trying to find something real quick. Well, anyway, I know I read it. It was either yesterday or the day before, and I was going to jot it down, but it was so fast and there were 8 things going on. But, the Bednar statistics, if you have to look up, like when he comes in and when he puts people on, or when he comes in and others put him on, right? It still feels like the same tension. But I feel like when he does it on his own, he's like better. He's like, all right, here's 2. I walk those guys, cool. But like if he comes in and it's a Bednar cleanup duty for a Cruz or whoever else, maybe disaster strikes. The thing with Cruz, though, is you alluded to this, I think, a couple shows ago. He's their best reliever, no doubt. But last night was, and I know the Tigers are not the Dodgers, and I know that they're not a couple of the other really good, solid lineups in the in the AL or in the NL. I get that. They're not even the Cubs, for example. I mean, a lot of teams, I think, would love to have Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, and Dansby Swanson right now, who's murdering the baseball, let alone 6 guys in your lineup, right? Like Betts hasn't even done anything for the Dodgers. But when you think about a lineup, even like Detroit, that still they still find their way to get the pitch that they want, right? And I think they were doing that against the White Sox. And like Cruz just, the dip on his ball, man, like he shut down any hope that the Tigers could get into 2-1 fastball, right? 3-2 fastball, or you're not painting the corners because you have to overdo it. And we've seen Cruz, when he has to overdo it, he'll overthrow and then he'll walk somebody. Then the next pitch or 2 pitches after, he'll hang one. And then it's and then he goes out and it's like, oh, there goes that bullpen thing, right? So I thought that was a big thing where he was it was falling out. His pitches were falling out faster last night to get the swings and misses.
Yeah, they with StatCast, they're giving us all these new crazy metrics. The latest one now is they're tracking how much batters are missing pitches by in inches, right? And I think I saw Cruz's splitter is the number 1 pitch in baseball for largest whiff margin. That's like 8. The batters are missing it by like 8 inches on average, which is incredible. Now, the more important thing to me is I heard this today too on one of the podcasts I listened to. I got to look it up to make sure, but I'll share it here because I think it's probably true. I think they said Cruz leads all relief pitchers this year in inherited runs or inherited runners who have not scored. I think he's inherited like 27 runners, and it's some crazy number. I have always said, Mike, and I'm going to look that up because I'm going to write about it probably at some point here. I have always said one of the most important numbers for a relief pitcher isn't so much ERA. WHIP is a big one because that means you're putting runners on base. But how many runners, when you come into a game that you inherit, that you're allowing to score? Because that's the reliever's job, is to come in and end the rally, put out the fire. And I think, according to what I heard today, I should have looked it up before we went live. I think Cruz might have the best percentage of inherited runners scored, which is that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, and for this particular team, I mean, look, David Bednar is a far cry from a Mariano Rivera. Everybody in history mostly is a far cry. But for this particular team, he's kind of like their either Ramiro Mendoza or he's their Jeff Nelson in a way. And it's, a lot of times he's the immediate setup, or maybe he is long, depending on what they did in the previous games. But listen, if they're going to have bullpen success, it starts with him.
Yeah, Cruz, I saw this too. Cruz, Hedrick, Bednar since the start of June combined 0.98 ERA, 110 batting average against.
Yep.
Clearly their best three receivers. I mean, those are the three relievers that Boone pretty much knows he can count on right now. There's nobody else. I mean, Tim Hill does his job usually. I'm usually not too worried when he comes in, but lately there has been some issues. Obviously, Dovel's terrible. Yarborough and Blackburn are only there in mop-up duty or one-sided games. But that Cruz, Hedrick, Bednar threesome has been really good for them. And it's going to have to be that way until the trade deadline, when we hope that he's going to make some moves. Or in the meantime, maybe we're finally going to see Carlos Lagrange come up here. They're getting him prepared. I'm not expecting, dynamite right off the bat. The kid still has command issues. But I think he's going to be a nice piece when they finally get him ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can never have enough options, I guess, so that you don't tire during the dog days of August, because that's been one of the big things with the Cashman Yanks as well. By the time we're into like the 50th, 60th show, somebody's going to hit me on social and be like, dude, stop saying the Cashman Yanks. Well, sorry, I can't, because he constructs the roster and everybody knows how I feel about that. But the bullpen always, if you remember, they go in best bullpen. Top 3, top 5 bullpen. Like the Yankees bullpen comes into the season that way, and then certain things happen. They get taxed or injuries or whatever the case may be. A starter goes down and they get taxed even more after 4th of July, dog days of August. By the time they hit the postseason, they don't have the full arsenal, and they don't have the dominating, sustainable ways to them, right? They need that right now. And we're going to see what starters are in there by the time October rolls around and what the rotation will be. But if 3 or 4 guys are dominant coming out of there against a feeble American League, giddy up. That's what you want.
Exactly. All right, so back to the opener. Garrett Cole did not have a good night Monday night. In fact, it was one of his worst starts that I can remember. Look, he came off the IL after Tommy John surgery. He hadn't pitched since Game 5 of the 24 World Series. I was very surprised, Mike, that he pitched as well as he did early on. I mean, he came out like he hadn't missed a beat. Now we've seen a little bit of a hiccup the last couple times out, and Monday night the velocity was there, but he was just missing over the middle of the plate. He'd get ahead. There were more than a couple, I think 2-strike hits in that game. He just wasn't sharp, and they took advantage of it. They scored 5 runs. Yankees offense did nothing. They lose the game. Framber Valdez, he's had some success against the Yankees, but it's a guy that I think they've hit in the past. When he was with the Astros, it was always the other guy. Who's the other guy that just dominated them? Christian Javier. Well, yeah. Javier was the one who completely dominated them.
What about Morton, too? What about Morton when he danced around all his places when he was available for 1-year deals and the Yankees never once took a flyer on the guy?
Yeah. So Valdez has had some success, but that's a guy that they've gotten after a little bit.
Yeah.
They just didn't have anything going that night. It was too bad. And of course, we have to talk about the Chisholm Lollipop-gate that made the rounds. Yep. Jazz is, and I loved that Boone on his paid appearance on Talking Yanks the next morning. Mm-hmm. They asked him about it, and you don't usually get this from Boone.
You don't.
But he was dead honest, and he actually called out a player. I mean, for Boone to do that, he was pissed off. Right? Because he defends these guys and props them up no matter how shitty things are going. He is there for his guys. Well, this was crossing the line. And look, I'm not going to sit here and be the old man yelling on to get off my lawn. But to me, sucking on a lollipop in the 5th inning of that game, that was just disrespectful to the game, Mike. I mean, there's a lot of things that I'll let slide, but that was just, he looked like an 8-year-old Little League kid out there. And we understand it's Jazz being Jazz, and you got to sort of put up with some of the antics. But that was a line that he crossed, and I'm glad that Boone called him out on it. But I'll give this to Jazz. He comes back the next night and shoves it up everybody's ass, and it's a massive home run. and then he grabs the double bubble thing and shows it everybody. I think it's lesson learned. I don't think he'll be sucking on lollipops anymore, but give me your thoughts first on that, but just Jazz being Jazz. Is he worth the trouble?
I don't think he is. And the reason is because he hits 230. Okay.
But here's where I'll let you finish your point. I think he is worth it, Mike, because I think he is a dynamic player when he has his shit together, when his head is in the game. Okay. He will hit the ball. He has not had a great year this year with the batting average, but he gives you power. He gives you tremendous speed on the bases. And I think underrated a little bit. He's a damn good second baseman, right? I mean, yeah, occasionally he's going to do a knuckleheaded thing, which he sort of specializes in that, but I think he's a pretty damn good fielder. That's why I'm willing to put up with it, but I know you have a different opinion, so make your case.
I actually think that the fielding part may be the best part of his game. I think his fielding really might be. I understand the hitting, the flip-flopping, the up and down stuff, all the BS he does, the clown behavior, the bat flipping stuff and all that, that guys are doing now, that stuff really doesn't bother me as much. I do think he does take it a little too much, especially when he doesn't run out of the box and you don't know if it's going to clear the wall. It's like a borderline thing. It's like, dude, get on your high horse.
Jazz being Jazz. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, the blow pop thing really got to me, man. I mean, I can handle, like, if you're chewing gum out there, I can handle, like, the guys who stupidly do tobacco. I can handle even maybe a couple sunflower seeds that aren't quite done yet, or you're chewing them around, you're doing a little, the tongue thing, you get caught on camera, you're flipping them around, and that was out of control. And the thing with Chisholm, like, he loves to talk about his childhood and where he's from and the hot islands and all this sort of stuff. And wow, look at me, and we're not supposed to make it this far, and we're not supposed to do this. Cool, man. Like, set an example then. Like, I don't know. For me, there's a lot more that you can get out of someone in this game who's pulling all those antics. And you know what? The lollipop thing is probably, as much as it bothers me, it's down the list with him, actually. I mean, the stuff where he doesn't run to first, where it's a ball that you don't know is going to clear the wall, bothers me more. Here's one that really bothers me. Dude doesn't know the rules of the game. I mean, it's happened so many times, and it's cost the Yankees a run or two here and there. So he drives me absolutely wild. I get it. He's flamboyant, dynamic. By the way, to the Caballero point that we made a couple times ago, he doesn't fear the moment. So I guess you got that on your side if you're him too. But I don't know. The guy drives me banana land because he'll do, for every good or great one or two, he'll give me like 5 or 6 that drive me absolutely crazy. Garrett Cole labored. I think we're going to see more and more of that too, by the way, because the more you come back, the more video, right? I mean, the guy's been gone. He does the windup, so he has new video. He dominated early. Now he's got some laborious kind of times and all that. You're going to have more tape on him, the windup, different things, delivery, inch here, inch there. I mean, this game, we know how people see it, Sal. So you're going to see more of that video breakdown and all that. But I don't really – look, game one was game one of 162. They won the next 2. And you win series after you win or lose the first game of a series. I like that when teams do that. That's a big thing, especially who they were facing on the mound in Motown in that series.
Yeah, go to game 2 now, and they're facing Casey Mize, who has a really, really good pitcher. And he controlled the Yankees for a good chunk of that game. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, Jazz hits that 2-run homer that puts them ahead. And then I forget who else got it. Oh, it was Caballero. Caballero got on base, and Austin Wells. How about that? Lo and behold, Austin Wells actually contributed something. It wasn't like it was a rope, but he hit a ball down the left field line, kind of an excuse me swing, but it went into the corner. And Caballero off with the pitch because there was 2 outs, came all the way around to score a big insurance run in that game, made it 4-2, which they needed because they did give up a run late in the game. But to hold on to that, to go ahead of Casey Mize in that game and then put it away with another good bullpen night, just a really good win. And as I said at the top, that was a big win because I just felt like if they lose that one, now you got to face Skubal, and not knowing what was going to happen, obviously, you aren't feeling good down 2-0 in the series, and you're facing that guy. So that was a big win on, Tuesday night? Yeah,
it was kind of the momentum swing in the series, right? Like when you play 3-game series, you're kind of like, if you lose 2 and then you face the ace, or you lose 2 and let's say you lose an extra innings, but you were up or whatever, and then you're like, well, you just dropped the other 2, and the mind starts to play a little bit, even though those baseball players, man, I mean, every day is like, tomorrow's coming, right? I mean, that's one of the big things in baseball. Like, even when you lose like 6 or 7 in a row, you have 8 more games in the next 9 days or whatever it is, and you just play every day. So it's like, you're going to go through those trials and tribulations. But I thought that was more the momentum game, especially being in the middle game. And this was a 3-game, not a 4-game series, Sal. So that was the big thing for me, right? That would be kind of like the game 3 of a 4-gamer, but this was game 2, and you've got the 3 big pitchers there, and you won the last 2. So good stuff there.
Yeah, good series win. So now they go to Boston, and look, Red Sox, this is glorious to be talking about this. They absolutely suck. I mean, it was funny. I didn't see the live result Monday night, but how that was incredible. They're up 2-0 in the bottom of the ninth to the Rockies. Chapman on the mound with a 0.83 ERA, and he gives up 3 quick singles, loads the bases, and then McCarthy for the Rockies hits the ball into the left field corner, and Jaron Duran decided to play soccer out there for 5 minutes, and 3 runs scored to win the game. Then yesterday, I'm on my deck doing some work, writing something, and I had the Red Sox, who was on during the day, I had the Red Sox game on. They're up 6-3 in the 7th, and then I had to go do something. I turned it off. I come back like an hour later, I wonder what happened there. They lose. They lost. They gave up 4 runs or 5 runs in the last 2 innings. Mike, the Red Sox are just absolute garbage. It's shocking to watch because I didn't think, before the season started, I was thinking they and the Blue Jays were going to be the teams that were going to give the Yankees their biggest fight. They are in last place, 14 games under 500, and we can only hope that the misery continues this weekend when they got 4 games against the Yankees now.
Well, here's the thing too, right? I understand they've won 4 World Series since 2004, and the Yankees only have the 1, right? For me, though, in my lifetime, I'm not a big 26 rings because I didn't live through all of it. I'm not, I wasn't a teenager during Ruth and Gehrig. But for my lifetime, the Yankees still have 1 more series win, and they still have a couple more pennants. For you, it's even more than that because you lived through early 80s, 70s, and on it goes, right? So there's still, what one would you rather be? We know. However, the Red Sox do have the most recent World Series rings. This point I'm about to make is not a Yankee point. There's a lot of people out there going, "Oh, fanboy, you got Jeter on your wall." This is a Red Sox point only, because every year, and we're about to do it again in about a month and a half, we go down to Marshfield, Mass, and I actually married into my wife's family. A lot of them are from Massachusetts. Help me, but they, obviously they're across the board Boston sports fans, right? And my wife's cousin's husband and I are super, super tight, super good friends. He's an awesome, awesome sports fan. And we talk all the time about everything. People are so pissed about the Red Sox and how they're handling everything. They're treating that franchise like a food stamp franchise. Sal, there's no reason to be trading superstars to give away Mookie Betts on a silver platter. There's no reason to never be in these big deals in the offseason, even if you don't sign somebody. I mean, for as much as I can't stand Cashman, at least he brought it. I mean, Bellinger's there and he's made an impact, right? There's still guys on the Yankees who, I mean, if Judge was on the Red Sox, would they have signed him? I mean, would they, if he had played the card Red Sox versus Giants, they might have let him walk. I mean, the Yankees had to outbid themselves like idiots, but you get the point. They are an embarrassment. This is a trademark, big brand, monster, historical franchise with arguably the best ballpark in all of baseball still, and that's been that way since the Titanic sunk. They are treating them like a food stamp franchise because they're so busy with TV deals and printing money and all these things, the soccer deals and all that stuff. They are an abomination, and it is unreal. People are so pissed. They're so pissed, and you can tell in the seats, right? You put on a game at Fenway now a lot, over and over. People just stop showing up.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to watch. I just did not expect this to happen. They've just been sloppy. They haven't hit the ball. I don't know. I think the last time I checked, they were dead last in Major League Baseball in home runs. How do you build a team in Fenway Park that can't hit the ball over the fence, no matter what side of the park you hit it out? It's crazy to me. So this is a series. There's no, as I wrote in my newsletter this morning, there's no excuses for the Yankees. You got to go in there, minimum take 3 or 4. You can't split this series or, God forbid, lose this series. You got to go in there and hammer the last couple nails into the coffin and put this team to bed for good, send them into the trade deadline selling off. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. They're throwing, I think, 3 lefties in the first 3 games. I think it's who is it tonight? It's Connolly early tonight. I think it's early tonight.
Yep.
Peyton Tolley, who's their rookie,
Yes.
and then some kid named Jake Bennett, who I've never heard of.
Me either.
He's a lefty. Then they got Sonny Gray, which will be a little bit tougher. Righty going Sunday, 2.95 ERA. He's been pretty good. But you got three lefties. This is a left-handed laden lineup. They'll have to do a little bit of work, but there's no excuses, Mike. You got to go in there and take care of business in this series if you're the Yankees. So, and they've got three of their best pitchers going, right? Schlittler goes tonight. You've got Warren,
Cole, then Rodon.
And Rodon. You've got your best guys. I mean, you could say Weathers maybe is better than Warren. I don't know, but you're in a good spot.
Early Toy, Bennett, and Gray, like you said. So it's like, you have the advantage in both, basically all those. And I would even argue that Carlos Rodon and Sonny Gray it's a toss-up, right? Like,
it might be a wash.
But again, we know, like we just talked about Skubal, like you just still have to go out there and play the game. Yeah, go win 3 or 4, I would say, no doubt.
Speaking of Rodon, I had this note this morning in my newsletter. So he gives up 3 runs last night.
Yeah.
Would you believe he has not given up more than 3 runs in 18 straight starts going back to last year? It's the 3rd longest streak in Yankee history. I mean, it feels like every time he's out there, Mike, it feels like disaster is right around the corner, right? And he finds a way to limit the damage all the time. And to go 18 straight starts, again, it goes back to like, I don't know, July of last year, to have given up 3 or less in 18 straight. That's really, really good work for a guy that you never feel like is dominating a game.
I know it's crazy because the guy drives me wild. And then a lot of times he just hangs in there and you're like, oh, that was actually good enough. Again, runners in scoring position. If you could have gotten one more base hit with 2 guys on. And again, I still point to that as being the problem when it matters most, as everybody, including you, have heard a million times out of my mouth. But yeah, Rodon, he does bulldog it out there. I will give him that. I just, again, contract, the look, some of the postseason stuff. I don't know, man. He is what he is. But like you said, that's a hell of a number, man.
That is. All right, we can wrap it up there, Mike. I'll let you get back to being a dad. I know you got stuff going on there. I've got to get some writing done today. So FanDuel is the presenting sponsor of this show. And as I mentioned the other day on the show, Yankees are still hanging in there, Mike, as the second betting favorite to win the World Series. Not only get to the World Series, but win to the World Series. We'll see. I think the American League is obviously down this year, but you and I both know there's a lot of potholes along the way. And I'm not going to write in the Yankees as the automatic entrant from the American League. Let's let it play out a little bit, but that's what the bettors are saying right now. So we'll see, right?
Yeah, we will. The AL has more potholes in Central New York. And I think, again, though, the goal is to keep winning and try to
win series.
Yes, and keep distancing yourself from everybody to the point where you get the number 1 seed. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. That's where we are, and it won't change, Sal. A week from now, a month from now, that's it. That's the list.
All right. I'm just going to remind people that down in the show notes, if you listen to the show on Apple or Spotify, there's a link for Mike's coverage of all the things he does, millions of videos a week. The guy is the grinder of all grinders. I've got a link in there to my Pinstripe People newsletter, which I really wish you would subscribe to. I think it's pretty reasonable. You can choose $5 a month or $50 for the year. And if you ever read the thing, which, some of you subscribers have, Mike, I would think I give them pretty good bang for their buck, about 3,000 words each newsletter. So
bro,
I'm hoping it's been a little slow to get people to come over from free to paid. I hope a few more of you do it. I would appreciate it, but that's the plug. It'll be in the show notes, the links for all that stuff. So for Mike Lindsay, I am Sal Majorana signing off. We will talk to you probably Monday morning following the Yankees-Red Sox series. This has been Pinstripe People, presented by FanDuel on the Believe Network. Have a great day, everybody.